Welcome to a deep dive into a world that's, well, both beautiful and kind of bizarre, you know? The world of carnivorous plants. You ready to uncover the secrets behind these botanical masterminds?
Absolutely. And with over 630 known species, we've got a lot of fascinating ground to cover.
630.
Mhm.
Okay, wow, that's way more diverse than I ever imagined.
Right.
To guide us on this journey, we'll be digging into some incredible articles, specifically from the Natural History Museum and Smithsonian Magazine. So, what makes a plant decide, you know what, I think I'll have bugs for dinner?
That's the thing. It's not about like a simple craving for creepy crawlies. To be
Hmm.
officially classified as carnivorous, a plant needs to meet, some very specific criteria. First off, it needs a way to trap and kill its prey, like a botanical booby trap.
I like it.
Secondly, think of it like having, a tiny stomach. It needs a mechanism for digestion, a way to break down those insect snacks.
Right.
And finally, it's all about survival, right? It needs to actually absorb nutrients from its prey. No freeloaders allowed in this botanical buffet.
So it's not just about like sticky leaves catching a stray fly. It's a whole system.
Yeah.
This is where I always picture those devil's claw plants fitting in. They're notorious for trapping insects.
Ah, the devil's claw. A perfect example of why we need those specific criteria. While it traps insects, often with a rather gruesome grip, I'd say, it doesn't actually digest them.
Oh,
It's
right.
more of you could say, a murderous plant, lacking that key digestive element to earn the carnivorous title.
Murderous plants. Now that's an image. Makes you wonder what else is lurking out there in the plant world. But even in the true carnivores, there seems to be quite a variety of dining styles, huh?
Absolutely. Some carnivorous plants have evolved these fascinating partnerships. The Rorigula, for example. This one teams up with assassin bugs. It's a real
Oh.
win-win scenario.
Oh, tell me more about this partnership. How does that work?
So the Rorigula, it traps the insects, but it's the assassin bugs that move in for the feast. They devour the trapped prey.
Smart.
Then, and this is remarkable, in a display of symbiosis, the Rorigula absorbs the nutrients from the bug's waste.
Oh,
It's like an all-natural composting system.
wow. Talk about efficient delegation. So it's not always about doing the dirty work yourself, huh? Sometimes it's about finding the right partners in crime. Or I should say partners in digestion. Are there other plants that outsource their digestive processes?
You bet. Some plants, like certain Nepenthes species, they take outsourcing to a whole new level. They rely on bacteria to break down their prey.
Bacteria. So they've got like tiny little chefs living inside them,
Yeah.
just, whipping up a nutrient-rich soup.
Exactly. These bacteria break down the complex compounds in the prey, making the nutrients readily available for the plant to absorb. And then you have we call them the toilet bowl Nepenthes.
Okay, toilet bowl Nepenthes. Now that's a name that piques my curiosity. I'm guessing insects aren't on the menu for these guys.
You'd be right. These Nepenthes have developed shall we say, a taste for something a little less conventional.
Oh. Do tell.
Tree shrew droppings.
Tree shrew dot droppings. You're pulling my leg, right?
I wish I were. They attract tree shrews with, get this, a sweet nectar. The shrews hang out, enjoy their sugary treat, and, well, nature takes its course.
Right.
The toilet bowl Nepenthes, with their wide bowl-shaped traps, perfectly designed to catch the falling droppings, then absorb the nutrients.
Okay, wow. That is both amazing and a little bit gross. But I guess when you're a plant living on the edge, you got to get creative about your nutrition sources.
Absolutely.
It speaks volumes about their adaptability.
Hmm.
So where in the world would one encounter these fascinating, if not slightly off-putting plants? Or are we talking like remote jungles,
Hmm.
hidden swamps, that sort of thing?
You might be surprised. While they're often found in those exotic locales you mentioned, the common denominator is nutrient-poor environments. Think bogs, swamps, even rocky outcrops,
Really?
places where other plants struggle to find the foothold.
Hold on. Are you saying I could, like, stumble across a carnivorous plant right here in the UK?
You absolutely could.
Get out of here. What kind of carnivorous plants are native to the UK?
Just your average sundews, butterworts, and bladderworts.
Okay.
They might be small, but they're mighty. Perhaps we'll delve into those a bit later, but for now, let's talk about how these botanical masterminds actually catch their meals.
Okay, yes. The trap, that's the
Absolutely.
part that always captivated me. It's like something out of like a science fiction novel. But it's happening, it's happening right here in the natural world. Let's break it down. What's the first trap on our carnivorous plant safari?
Let's start with one of the most dramatic pitfall traps.
Dramatic, I like it.
Imagine a plant with leaves shaped like pitchers, often with alluring colors and sweet nectar.
Okay.
Insects are lured in thinking they found, a sweet treat, but the inside of the pitcher, it's a slippery slope.
Oh,
It's often filled with digestive fluids, making escape, well, nearly impossible.
whoa, that's brutal. And I bet you've got a prime example of a pitfall trap master up your sleeve. Don't hold back now.
Oh, absolutely. Picture this, the giant montane pitcher plant found all the way in Borneo. This is a plant with an appetite.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this giant.
It's the largest carnivorous plant in the world, with traps that can grow up to a whopping 41 centimeters tall.
Whoa. 41 centimeters. That's getting pretty close to the size of a
A rodent! You're on the right track. These pitchers have been known to capture and digest rodents that, that lose their footing and tumble into their depths. It's a sight to behold.
Okay, the giant montane pitcher plant officially wins the award for most metal plant on the planet. That's incredible.
It's definitely a strong contender. And then we have there's the cobra plant, another pitfall trapper. This one relies on bacteria to do its digestive bidding.
Ah, right.
It's a master delegator of the carnivorous plant world. But we'll circle back to bacteria's role a bit later.
A cobra plant. Okay, now I need to see a picture of this one. I can only imagine it. It lives up to the name. But before we move on from traps, let's talk about those sticky, glistening, adhesive traps. I feel like those are the ones people picture most often.
Exactly. They often look like glistening droplets of nectar or dew, but it's all a sticky ruse. Once an insect touches down, it's caught in this glue-like substance that, well, it spells bad news for the insect.
And it's game over from there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what happens?
Pretty much, yeah. Smaller insects become, completely immobilized, while larger ones might struggle only to find themselves, even more ensnared. It's a slow, suffocating end for the unsuspecting prey.
Okay, that's a little brutal, but you can't
They get that
deny
one.
the ingenious simplicity of it. Right. And some adhesive traps take it a step further, don't they?
Absolutely. Some species can actually get this, curl their leaves inward once they've made a catch, further trapping their helpless victims.
Talk about adding insult to injury. And speaking of ingenious, no discussion of adhesive traps would be complete without mentioning, well, the sundews. I know Charles Darwin himself was like utterly captivated by these plants.
Oh, Darwin's fascination with sundews was monumental. His meticulous observations and experiments with these plants were all groundbreaking. He wasn't content with just watching them catch insects, you see. He wanted to understand like the intricacies of their digestive process.
Wait, really? What kind of experiments did he do? Did he feed them specific things?
Hey, did he fed them all sorts of substances, carefully documenting their reactions. We're talking things like salts of ammonia, egg whites he even tried, even tiny crumbs of cheese.
Jeez, you're kidding. I guess even plants need a little variety in their diet. But seriously, what did Darwin discover from all of this?
His work with sundews and carnivorous plants in general, really, it revolutionized our understanding
Oh, fine.
of the plant kingdom. He proved, beyond a doubt, that these plants were capable of digesting live prey and obtaining nutrients from them. This was a radical concept at the time and really challenged, the conventional wisdom about plants being passive organisms.
Darwin, the OG carnivorous plant enthusiast. That's
Yeah.
that's amazing. Okay, we've covered pitfall traps and those sticky adhesive traps. Let's move on to another crowd favorite in the carnivorous plant world, the lightning fast snap trap.
Ah, yes, the Venus flytrap,
Yeah.
the undisputed celebrity of the carnivorous plant world, and for good reason. It's truly remarkable.
I have to admit, even knowing how it works, there's something, I don't know, there's something mesmerizing about watching a Venus flytrap snapshot. It's like a horror movie on a microscopic scale.
Right. And it all comes down to those delicate trigger hairs inside the trap When an insect brushes against them, it sets off this whole chain reaction. The trap snaps shut with incredible speed, often in a fraction of a second. It's a combination of hydraulics and mechanics that still has scientists baffled, really.
So it's not just a simple snap. There's like complex science behind it. Once the trap closes, is it an instant meal?
Not quite. The trap doesn't close completely at first. It needs to make sure, it needs to make sure it has a decent sized meal. So it stays slightly ajar. This allows smaller insects to escape. No point in wasting energy on a tiny snack, right? But if the prey continues to move within the trap, triggering those hairs again, well, that's when the Venus flytrap goes in for the kill, sealing its fate.
It's like the plant is like sizing up its prey,
Right.
making sure it's worth the effort. These plants are seriously strategic hunters.
They are. And speaking of strategic, did you know there's a carnivorous plant that, get this, takes the snap trap
Hold
underwater?
on, an underwater snap trap. That's a new one. Tell me more. What kind of plant are we talking about?
This would be the water wheel plant, an aquatic plant found in parts of, Europe, Asia,
Yeah.
Africa.
Okay.
Its name is quite fitting given its appearance. Imagine delicate wheel-like structures with traps on each spoke lurking beneath the surface.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And what kind of unsuspecting prey does an underwater carnivorous plant target?
The water wheel plant isn't picky. It's a true predator of the shallows, and its diet reflects that. We're talking mosquito larvae, tiny fish, even the occasional, unfortunate tadpole. Anything that wanders too close to those submerged traps is fair game.
Okay. Underwater snap traps.
Yeah.
That's officially the coolest thing I've learned today. All right, we've still got two more trap types to explore. What can you tell us about the stealthy world of snare traps?
Snare traps, they're the specialists of you could say, the microscopic world.
Okay.
They're targeting, single-celled organisms like protozoa and ciliates.
Hold on, they eat single-celled organisms. Those are tiny. Talk about a specialized palate.
Exactly. They've evolved these incredible, almost invisible to the naked eye, underground traps to catch their minuscule meals.
Wow.
Take the corkscrew plant, for example, which gets its name from its unique underground leaves that spiral like, well, you guessed it, a corkscrew.
Corkscrew plant. Okay, that's a new one for me.
Yeah.
But how do they actually catch anything if they're underground?
The inside of those corkscrew-shaped leaves is where the magic happens. They're
Yeah.
lined with these tiny inward-pointing hairs that effectively create a one-way path for the unsuspecting prey. So they get funneled down, you see, towards a digestive chamber with no escape.
It's like a hidden world of carnivory happening right beneath our feet. Who knew plants could be so sneaky? Okay, so we've covered pitfall. We've talked about those adhesive traps and those fascinating snare traps. What about our final type? Suction traps. The name alone sounds kind of intense.
They are, remarkably effective. Picture tiny bladder-like traps, often submerged in water, just waiting for the unsuspecting prey to come a little too close.
Okay, I'm picturing it. So how does the suction actually work? Is it like a vacuum cleaner?
It's a pretty apt comparison. Each bladder has a small opening, right, sealed by a flexible trapdoor.
Yep.
This trapdoor is surrounded by sensitive trigger hairs. When potential prey, usually, tiny aquatic organisms, when they brush against these hairs, it triggers this rapid change in water pressure inside the bladder.
Hold on. So it's all about water pressure. How does that work?
It's a bit complicated, but incredibly clever. You see, the plant keeps the trapdoor, keeps it tightly shut, creating a sort of vacuum inside the bladder. When those trigger hairs are activated, the trapdoor springs open, with lightning speed, causing this sudden inrush of water and anything unfortunate enough to be nearby.
Wow. So it's like a botanical black hole just sucking in anything that gets too close.
Exactly. And once that trapdoor snaps shut, it's game over for the prey. The plant then it secretes digestive enzymes to break down its meal, absorbing those nutrients.
That's incredible. Okay, so we've got these amazing plants, right? Each with its own ingenious way of catching a meal. But the big question is, how did they evolve to become carnivores in the first place?
Yeah.
It seems like such a leap, going from like peaceful photosynthesis to Well, to eating meat.
It's a question that has, oh, it's puzzled scientists for centuries. But
Huh.
thanks to, thanks to advances in DNA sequencing and our understanding of genetics, we're starting to uncover, the secrets behind these botanical carnivores. One key concept here is gene co-option.
Gene co-option. That sounds, whoa, that sounds pretty high tech. What's going on there?
It's actually pretty elegant when you break it down, essentially. Genes that originally evolved for one purpose, right? They can be repurposed over time to perform new functions. Think of it like turning a butter knife into a screwdriver. Same tool, but different job.
Right. That's a good analogy. So how does this butter knife to screwdriver situation, how does that apply to carnivorous plants?
Well, it seems many of the genes involved in their meat-eating ways, they were originally part of their defense systems.
So they repurpose their defenses into dining tools. That's amazing.
Exactly. For instance, take those digestive enzymes we've been talking about. Many are remarkably similar to the chemicals plants use
Yeah.
to fight off insects and other threats. It's like they thought, hey, if we can use these to break down invaders, why not use them to break down a meal too?
Right.
Evolution at its finest, resourceful and efficient.
It's mind-blowing. And here's another mind-blowing thing. Research suggests carnivory evolved, get this, multiple times independently across different plant lineages.
That's right. It just goes to show how effective this adaptation is for surviving
Right.
in nutrient poor environments, different lineages of plants separated by time and geography, all stumbled upon the same ingenious solution. If you can't beat them, eat them. It's a testament to the power of natural selection.
Evolution. You sly dog.
Mm.
Always finding a way. Are there any like specific examples of this convergent evolution in carnivorous plants?
Absolutely. Take the cephalotus. It's a pitcher plant found only in a small region of Western Australia.
Okay.
Now, despite being on a completely different branch of the evolutionary tree from other pitcher plants like our friend, the giant montane pitcher plant, it seems to have co-opted many of the same genes for digestion.
So different family trees, same carnivorous toolkit. That's fascinating. But it makes you wonder if plants evolve this ability multiple times, are there different ways they control it?
That's a great question, and one that researchers they're actively exploring it. You see, in most carnivorous plants, the production of those digestive enzymes, it's triggered by a plant hormone called jasmonate.
Okay, so jasmonate is like the dinner bell,
Yeah.
signaling it's time to start breaking down a meal.
Exactly. But as always, there are exceptions to every rule. Take, for example, the butterwort.
The butterwort, our UK native. What's going on with them?
Well, in butterworts, jasmonate seems to play, well, little to no role in their digestive processes. This suggests there might be other as yet undiscovered mechanisms at play. They're like the they're like the rebels of the carnivorous plant world, marching to the beat of their own digestive drum.
Wow. So much mystery still to unravel. It makes you wonder what other secrets these plants are hiding.
Precisely. And that's the beauty of science. Every answer often leads to more questions. Driving,
Yeah.
driving further exploration and discovery.
This deep dive has been incredible. It's amazing to think that these botanical masterminds are out there right now employing these ingenious strategies and just defying expectations.
Absolutely. They remind us that the natural world is full of surprises.
Mhm.
And the more we learn, the more we realize, how much more there is to discover.
Well said. It's a good reminder for us all to never stop asking questions and exploring, exploring the world around us. And who knows, maybe some of our listeners will be inspired to create their own little carnivorous plant corner at home.
Now, wouldn't that be something? Imagine having your own Venus flytrap or sundew, putting on a show right there on your windowsill.
A fascinating thought for another day.
Yeah.
For now, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of carnivorous plants. Until next time, keep exploring and remember, sometimes the most captivating creatures in the
Yes.
kingdom, they aren't creatures at all, but those seemingly innocent plants just waiting to reveal their true nature.